Colour me impressed. The Chinese manufacturers are pulling out all the stops now. ZTE has announced the Nubia Z9, or Z9, a flagship handset that will be sold across the world. The Z9's highlight is the 5.2-inch 1080p display with arc refractive conduction technology on the side edges, producing the optical illusion of having almost no side bezels. There are also special edge gestures available, similar to those on the S6 Edge. The Nubia Z9 also includes a Snapdragon 810 processor, a 16 megapixel camera with OIS, a 2900 mAh battery, and runs Lollipop out of the box. There's a variety of storage and RAM options depending on market. Sony has announced the Xperia C4 and the Xperia C4 Dual smartphones, unashamedly selfie-centric. Both have a 5.5-inch 1080p display, a 1.7 GHz octa-core CPU, 2 GB of RAM, and 16 GB of internal memory with microSD. A 13 megapixel rear camera and 5 megapixel front camera both have LED flash, and both are powered by a 2600 mAh battery and Android 5 again out of the box. Yes, I'm out here again. If the weather's gorgeous, I'm in the summer house, the birds are tweeting, perhaps commenting on the show on social media. What have these two phones got in common? The Google Nexus 6 and the Nokia E75 from about 2008, about a decade ago almost. Both have multitasking OS, applications, camera, GPS, 3G connectivity, a QWERTY keyboard in the E75's case, and so on. Of course, they're from eras almost a decade apart, and there are very different expectations for each as a result. But the size difference is astonishing. We'll stick to screen diagonals for simplicity's sake. This E75 is a 2.4-inch screen, while the Nexus 6 is up, as the name suggests, at a whisker under 6 inches. Now, back in 2007, making a display larger than this was quite expensive. Witness the various high-priced pocket PCs, the Nokia communicators. This is the Nokia 7710, this is a rare beast. And these were just low-grade resistive touch or indeed passive displays. The iPhone with capacitive touch, also very expensive when it launched, heralded something of an interface revolution, and the rest is history. So here we have two parallel factors: screen sizes getting bigger for consuming video content, browsing web pages and playing games, and the bigger the better. Simultaneously, partly due to the economies of scale, but mainly because technology mastered the science, large smartphone screens became cheaper and cheaper. As an example, the budget 2015 Moto E has a 4.5-inch screen. The just as cheap Lumia 535 has a 5-inch screen. Yet in today's prices, a 5-inch touchscreen made back in 2005, 2006 would have resulted in a device cost of £700 or £800 or so, meaning that it's ever more affordable to have a large screen smartphone. It shouldn't cost a small fortune. The 5.7-inch screen Lumia 640 XL here, which I thought very highly of, is less than £200. The Xiaomi Mi Note devices aren't much more than that, at the same screen size in the Android world. Across the phone world, prices are coming down and screen sizes are going up. Of course, there's the usual debate over how large smartphone screens can get. I've gone on record here as saying that any phone that can be used like a phone is a phone, however large it may seem to others. We may not make that many phone calls anymore, but the principle still holds. I've also stated that if you can't hold a phone in one hand, wrapping finger and thumb to touch, then it's possibly too large for you, too large to be held securely and safely. This is still true, however, I have observed one curious phenomenon. Get over the fact that it's not a secure one-handed device, and not only is the sky the limit, but it's astounding how fast you get used to all that extra screen and real estate and resolution. On a device like the Lumia 640 XL, but even more so on the much more powerful Google Nexus 6, I genuinely did start to use it as I would have done a laptop or a tablet, within reason, but looking up and enjoying iPlayer, YouTube and Netflix, browsing desktop class web pages without eye strain, playing games for an hour, ditto. And then later, when you pick up something more traditional, here's my 4.5-inch screen Lumia 1020, and all of a sudden you have to concentrate harder and squint slightly and restrict what you want out of the device. Looking back at 2007's smartphone screens is quite literally painful. So, having sidestepped the finger and thumb test, what's the next practical limit? Well, storing the large screen phone when it's not in use. Unsurprisingly, women have the edge here with a bag of some kind, usually to hand, although of course men can have a gadget bag, a man bag. Anyone with a jacket will also have no problem. Trouser pockets are possible if both you and your trousers are large enough, but it's rarely comfortable and impractical when sitting down or driving. Me, as the antithesis of cool, I've simply been increasing my PDA belt case size each year to accommodate the changes. I think I've got 8 of these now, from 2007 through to 2015. Does it look a bit geeky? Yes, of course it does. Do I care? Well, not really, though. Maybe even I might take it off for a formal occasion. What's certain is that it's hard to go back. I've tried. After a week with the Nexus 6 and 640 XL, I went back to older, smaller phones, and it's very telling how often you then think, well, I can't really do that on this device. The E75 and S60 smartphones of that era feel like toys by comparison, and here's a jaw-dropping data point for you. The end of 2011 and the announcement of this, the Galaxy Nexus. The keynote graphics revealed a giant device, almost all screen, all 4.7 inches of it, and almost everyone, including me, wondered what on earth we would do with all that space. Happily, Google and the rest of us proved that such a large screen was not only a big advantage, but a necessity in these more graphical, more touch-centric days. And today in 2015, only 3.5 years later, this 2011 monster now looks, well, rather small compared to today's phones. This is the LG G4, even some of the outright budget smartphones with 5-inch screens. All of this is progress, of course, but it does make you wonder which appliance will be next to be subsumed into the all-consuming smartphone. Now that tablets are on the way out, well, how about laptops? Maybe that's going too far, but with voice assistants getting better and better, I've been testing them, maybe I should return to my science fiction scenario where we each have a kind of pad on our wrists or in a holster, and this pad will be our interface with the cloud, with everyone we know, with every resource we could ever want, with every screen or glass surface around us. Google Day Made of Glass and you'll see what I mean. All activated by voice, touch, or one day even by brainwaves. Phew. In the meantime, go for as large a screen as you can conveniently carry, go for as high specs as you can afford, and enjoy the fact that you're on your way to the future. Another short ProPorter advertorial spot. As usual, they send over stuff for review and I give you my honest verdict. In this case, it's the Mohawk Turbocharger 8000. Now, back in the day, I was joined at the hip to the Turbocharger 5000 but devices, and their batteries are getting bigger now, and thankfully, ProPorter somehow have managed to fit 60% more capacity into essentially the same form factor. Now, 8000 milliamp hours, that's at 3.7 volts, about 6000 milliamp hours at 5 volts, enough to fully recharge 2 smartphones from scratch, and depending on the devices, maybe a third phone as well. There are the usual LED indicators, both 2.1 amp and 1 amp outputs, and a wonderful soft touch grippy finish. Now at £30, this is a little pricey, but you can bring this down by a fiver with the promo code LUCKYYOU. Plus you get ProPorter's lifetime warranty, which is rather important with a battery-based product. Plus you're helping a UK-based company that also operates a third world charity. Oh, and I also wanted to mention this. Now, a micro USB cable doesn't sound very exciting. This is the granddaddy of all micro USB cables. It's premium, it's flat, it's rubberized, it's completely tangle-proof. It has an integral rubber cable tie that actually works. Even better, this cable comes in blue, orange and pink as well, meaning that it'll stand out in your briefcase and on your desk. It's £5 in the UK, minus that 15% I told you about earlier with the promo code, and it comes with my full recommendation. This is the micro USB cable.